Senator, thank you for doing this and welcome.
It's always nice to speak with you, Carla.
I will start with this. The United States led the extraction of 4 key members of Maria Corina's team from an embassy in Caracas. What message did Secretary Rubio and Trump want to send to the Maduro regime after achieving such a successful operation in the Venezuelan capital?
I think the message since Trump took office, out of President Trump's mouth and Marco Rubio's, is Maduro's days are numbered. And there's a lot of ways. I mean, whether it's stopping the license for the oil flowing, sanctions, rescuing the 5 members of Maria's team. When they had kidnapped Maria Corina Machado, saying that she needed to be released. I mean, all these things together is just. I think the message is, Maduro, your days are numbered.
Could it be said that the Trump administration discovered the vulnerability and weakness of the Maduro's regime intelligence system by successfully extracting 4 people from an embassy, monitored by drones, by snipers belonging to Maduro and Diosdado, without a shot being fired and without the regime noticing?
You would think so. But it just shows you Maduro's team is weak. He's weak. And I think there's probably a lot of people that would like him to leave power, but they can't because he controls the police apparatus, the military apparatus. But I think pretty much almost everybody in Venezuela would like him to go. You saw it with the results of the election. People want him to leave.
How you been able to speak with the Secretary of State about this operation or with the hostages at the embassy?
So I speak with Marco Rubio a lot. I don't want to say anything about what we talk about with regard to these operations. It's something that they did, but it was great that they did it. I'm very appreciative the president cares about Venezuelan people. I'm glad that Marco Rubio does. I'm glad that they care about Maria Corina Machado, and we've got to get Maduro out of power.
Just as the United States freed these hostages, those who wanted to get out of that confinement, do you think that those wanted by international justice and those with a bounty in the U.S. should be worried?
Absolutely. I have a bill that would increase the funds to that Maduro would be captured. He's clearly a war criminal. He's a terrible person, and the people around him are. So I think this is it's just a matter of time. I think this is it's falling apart. I think I'm very optimistic that we'll see a new day of freedom and liberty in Venezuela.
We will see more of this kind of operations. This is a difficult question, but you can answer whatever you are able to answer. But I asked this because I spoke with a speaker of the State Department, and she suggested that we'll see more of these kind of operations because there is in Venezuela more innocent people to be released.
Well, as you know, the State Department has been clear that Americans need to leave Venezuela. There's too much risk. My heart goes out to the people of Venezuela, but there's risk for American citizens there. And I think that what you see with this president and you see with Marco Rubio around the world, not just in Venezuela, that they're trying to get Americans released and out of harm's way. But we've also, as individual citizens, we have to don't put ourselves in harm's way either.
Diosdado Cabello desperately insists that the Trump administration negotiated with them for the release of these hostages. But Maduro hasn't said a single word. What could this surprise blow represent for the stability of the Venezuelan regime?
Well, I think Maduro has to be completely embarrassed. This is a direct poke in the eye of Maduro that, that they had, something that, is a complete violation of international law, how they treated these individuals inside another embassy. But this was a poke in the eye. Just shows that how weak Maduro is, and we all know his days are numbered.
Congressman, another topic. Congresswomen María Elvira Salazar and Debbie Wasserman Schultz introduced the bipartisan legislation, the Venezuela TPS Act of 2025, which automatically grants TPS for 18 months after it's approved and protects nearly 600,000 Venezuelans from deportation. Venezuelans who are already here and without a criminal record are eligible. What do you think of this idea? Would you support such a law?
So I've not seen that bill, but I've been very supportive of TPS for Venezuelans. Now we ought to make sure it doesn't cover, Maduro's, criminals, the gang members, people like that, people that are selling drugs to our kids and killing them. But absolutely, I believe in the protection of those that can't go back to Venezuela. And as we all know, Venezuelans here in the United States would have a very difficult time going back to Venezuela without persecution right now.
Now that the Department of State has renewed, as you said, the level 4 alert, which recommends against traveling to Venezuela or living there under any circumstances. Some point out that it's the State Department itself that leaves the Department of Homeland Security without grounds to revoke TPS. What do you think?
Well, I think we have all to work together. We have to work together. It's got to be everybody on all hands on deck to get rid of Maduro. On top of that, we've got to protect Venezuelan citizens that are not part of criminal gangs, not part of committing crimes, not part of narco traffickers, the opportunity to stay here. There's a variety of ways to do that. President Trump was active in that in his first term. And so I believe he'll continue to be supportive of that. So I think there's a variety of ways. It's difficult when the Biden administration and Democrats just completely open the border. It's hard to almost get anything done up here with regard to immigration.
And one last question. When Secretary Rubio referred to the Afrikaners fleeing persecution and said they were welcome in the United States because, and I quote, the government has treated these people terribly, and that he's so proud to offer them refuge in our great country, some Venezuelans ask, why them and not us? We have one of the cruelest tyrannies in the world. What would you say to those who think that way?
Well, I'm going to continue to work for Venezuelans that are here and their opportunity to stay here, as long as they're not part of Maduro's gangs, as long as they're not part of narco traffickers and not committing crimes. So we've got to continue to, take care of the Venezuelan people. My heart goes out to them. I know a lot of them want to go home and see their family and friends. So I'm very optimistic that we'll see a new day of freedom for Venezuelans.
Por supuesto que agradecidos con el equipo del senador Rick Scott por siempre querer conversar en este programa sobre los temas que más importan a nuestra comunidad. Vamos a hacer una pausa y en segundos regresamos con más.
Nos vemos en todo Estados Unidos a través de las cableoperadoras de su preferencia y en el resto del mundo descargando nuestra aplicación gratuita en las distintas plataformas. Somos TVD.